This will serve to introduce my family in a large part, reveal the essence of who I am and how I came to be. I was born the oldest child, a hearing child to deaf parents during the baby boom years. 3 years later, my sister was born, and she was also born deaf. I had a hearing aunt who passed away when I was 9 years old, so at that point on, I became the family communicator and interpreter. I loved my family dearly, and I was a good girl, but I longed to be a normal person, to be a kid, to make mistakes and make my own life. I married young, had a family young, and raised 2 daughters. My husband and I are still together after 42 years. Being brought up in the 60s, along with the biases I witnessed towards my family, I've always been very sensitive to social injustice. It seems I've been a product of sociological theories without even being aware of this. This is my story. So how we function as a family reflects how we function and contribute to society. The 4 social functions that a family serve include socializing our children, providing practical and emotional support, such as food, shelter, and love, regulating the norms of sexual activity as appropriate, and giving its members a social identity based on race, class, and ethnicity. The immediate family I was born into was a nuclear family, where I grew up with both my biological parents, who remained married to each other until their deaths. My father passed when I was in my 20s, my mother in my 40s. She did not remarry. My sister has been married and divorced twice. I have 2 granddaughters from my oldest daughter and a grandson from my younger daughter. However, in my husband's family, his parents and most of his siblings have all been married multiple times. In the family I was born into, I am what you call a coda, a child of deaf adults. This includes my parents, my sister and aunt and uncle, and my maternal grandparents. At a time before there were paid interpreters, before ADA, and before GDDs or video relay, I was my family's interpreter. This meant I grew up quickly at a young age and have always been the person responsible for taking care of business. This role continued into adulthood with my own family. Therefore, I am the person who took care of taking care of paying the bills and all financial matters. I was always a working mother, and we were a dual-earner couple, as my husband held managerial positions. But I did not, since I was the primary caregiver to our children, and therefore on the mommy track. Now that our children are grown, we have become more egalitarian in maintaining our household, although while my children were growing up, I was the one that usually did the cooking and cleaning. My family of procreation includes the family I created with my husband and my 2 daughters. Because I grew up in a deaf family, I was very shy and reserved, so my social skills were very limited. I relished my time in school as I loved to read and learn, but did not have a great deal of confidence, so I often felt awkward and different. It was a bicultural rule which many in mainstream society are unaware of. My mother was also a kinkeeper in that she kept in touch with extended families, and I have obviously done the same. My dad influenced me because he was very prideful, despite being deaf, and always taking care of his family. I believe my gender is a white female, and my social class as middle working class has influenced me to be who I am today. Having been raised in a blue-collar Midwestern environment has led me towards a conservative liberal slant politically and when it comes to feminism and activism. Since my husband and I are baby boomers, obviously healthcare is a major concern. The environment of my community, to have safe neighborhoods and plentiful shopping and restaurant options, is an important impact on my family at this stage of my life. To have a job I enjoy, and most importantly, my family and friends close by, is paramount. I would say my family has become more defined by a functionalist theory during the early years of raising my children with traditional functional roles. During my girls in preteen years, I would say it was a combination of functionalist and symbolic interaction theories because we took on different roles. I have come full circle in understanding of how I am a product of my family and the sociological impacts of the unique experiences I've had. Professionally, I began working the past years as a deaf education interpreter, embracing my lifelong job as a communicator in the deaf community. So in the end, I'm still taking care of my family, even though they have long been gone.